Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight, and indeed the very first video update for 2024. So on that note, first and foremost, a very happy new year to everybody out there watching this video. Can you believe that the first full week of 2024 has already gone? It is flying. Now, I hope you did all manage to get a little bit of time off over the past week or so. I know that many of you are actually heading back to work tomorrow. I know that others are following suit next Monday, as I am, which is why I'm in my lovely relaxed Know Your Rights t-shirt that we got from one of our wonderful members, Mark, as a lovely Christmas gift last year. But I did want to do a very quick update just to kick off this year with a couple of important points. So first up, obviously the very big story of this week has obviously been the release of the infamous Epstein files as part of a recent US court order, and that even made the mainstream news right here in Australia. So this is one of the 9 News articles, I think. It was quite detailed, actually, which was good to see. It was entitled, "Prince Andrew Features Prominently in Epstein Documents. Ghislaine Maxwell Breaks Silence." A woman who said she was victimized by deceased sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein said Prince Andrew put his hand on her breast at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse in 2001, according to court documents unsealed. The incident, which has been previously reported and Andrew has denied, was among the details revealed on Wednesday in a trove of previously redacted documents. The same victim also made claims about former US President Bill Clinton, revealing that he liked them young. No great surprises there, sadly. Epstein socialized with Wall Street titans, royalty and celebrities before pleading guilty to soliciting prostitution from a minor in 2008. Dozens of women have accused Epstein of forcing them to provide sexual services to him and his guests at his private Caribbean island and homes he owned in New York, Florida and New Mexico. The names of more than 150 people mentioned in the lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent accusers, were kept under seal for years until a federal judge ruled last month that there was no legal justification to keep them private. Finally, the truth is coming out. Lawsuit documents are expected to include nearly 200 names, including some of Epstein's accusers, prominent business people, politicians, and potentially more. This is the first set of documents to be unredacted and unsealed as part of a December 18 court order. More are expected as part of the order. Up until now, those people were identified only as Jane Doe or John Doe. Some of Epstein's former friends and associates have already been publicly named in media reports, and several became public during the 2001 trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner, who was convicted of sex trafficking and who's serving a 20-year sentence in federal prison. Appearing in court documents is by no means a sign of wrongdoing, but given the severity of the charges against Epstein and Maxwell, their former associates have been eager to distance themselves and denounce the alleged crimes. Of course they are. Now, given that I am still technically away on break, I haven't actually had a chance to read through the full 934 pages that were released. But if anyone does want to read through them, or at least scan through them and pick out some key points, you'll find a link near the bottom of our conspiracy page. I figured that was the most appropriate page to put it on. There should be a link going up in the comments to this video, but otherwise just go to our website, knowyourrightsgroup.com.au, click on the conspiracy tab, scroll towards the bottom and you'll see the link there, and you can download the full 934 pages. Now, sadly, I don't really think that much is actually going to come of all of this, but hopefully, fingers crossed, the fact that the mainstream media have been speaking about it will bring the attention of those files to more people, and now, of course, that those files are publicly available. Hopefully more people will be at least interested in just having a look and just seeing for themselves what really goes on, behind the scenes, the sort of stuff that people really should, be talking about, specifically when it comes to things like, world leaders and so-called celebrities. And, hopefully that will change people's, idolization of these people. And instead people can actually start focusing on the people who really do make a true positive impact on the world instead of all of these, muppets out there. Now, speaking of making an impact, I mentioned on the last video update that I did last year that the speed camera operators in Victoria were considering joining their police counterparts in relation to industrial action that would see them issuing less speeding fines. Well, as predicted, that's exactly what they did to kick off the new year earlier this week. And again, here is the article for those who want to follow along. So it's entitled Victorian Mobile Speed Camera Operators to Walk Off Job for 2 days After Failed Union Talks on Pay and Workers' Safety. Victoria's mobile speed camera operators will walk off the job on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as fears for their safety continue to grow and negotiations with their employer for better working conditions fail. Members of the Community and Public Sector Union say the mobile speed camera employer, Serco, is not doing enough to improve their safety, pay and working conditions. The strike comes after a 36-year-old speed camera operator was attacked by a group of people 3 days before Christmas near Royal Parade in Parkville. We had a hookup late this afternoon after an urgent meeting this morning with Serco. Unfortunately, their general manager didn't even bother to front, and they said we're offering no concessions to any of the claims that we've made about improving the safety of our operators, Mr. Kennelly said. We've got this terrifying ambush by 4 people against the vehicle, the operator inside. It's near midnight. It's dark. Why are they operating mobile speed cameras at midnight? I mean, how many people are on the roads at midnight? How many people are really speeding at midnight? Maybe they shouldn't be operating at those times, only at high-risk times of the day, which of course is what the speed camera policy manual actually says is supposed to happen. But again, that's a different video. Union members have been alerting drivers of speed camera locations, placing signs on the side of the road that read, "Camera car ahead, slow down for safety." There have been almost 350 reported incidents against operators in the past 13 months across the state, with almost 20 recorded for December this year alone, the Herald Sun reported. So, as we say all the time in our live events, each and every one, why do you think it is that ordinary, average, otherwise law-abiding people would go to such extremes to physically attack speed camera operators? I mean, people have to be pretty fired up. They have to be pretty angry to take that kind of really aggressive action. So maybe Serco, and of course the government that employs them, should be taking notice and actually putting more people on more police on the street and removing those, mobile speed camera operators altogether. Oh, that's right. They can't, because of course the police in Victoria are leaving in droves because they're sick to death of being glorified revenue raisers for the government. So now it is incumbent on the speed camera operators themselves to quit. Don't just go on strike, quit and go and get a real job. Okay? Stop deluding yourselves. Stop trying to convince yourselves, okay, that you're doing some kind of a public service, okay, because the statistics prove that that simply is not the case. Now, what are those statistics, you might ask? Well, right here in Victoria, the very state where the police and the speed camera operators are striking, where more fines are issued per capita than any other state, the road toll last year, 2023, the year just finished, was the highest it has been for the past 15 years. 15 years. Gee, those speed cameras are really working to slow people down and save lives, aren't they? It's insane. Here is the actual report, okay, from the Victoria Police website. Okay, this is from the from the police.vic.gov.au website. You can see there, that's the title of the article on their website. Okay, 296 lives lost on Victorian roads in 2023. So this was a media release that came out on the 1st of January this year. Victoria Police is more determined than ever to drive down road trauma in 2024 following a horror 12 months which saw the state record its highest number of lives lost in 15 years. There were 296 lives lost in 2023 compared with just 241 in 2022. That's a difference of 55. 55 more people were killed on our roads in Victoria this year, in 2023, than there were in 2022. That is a huge increase. Okay? These cameras are not working. If that doesn't categorically prove it to you, I don't know what will. Okay? The last time so many lives were lost was in 2008 when 303 people were killed. How many fines do you think have been issued between 2008 and 2023? How much money? How many billions? We're not even talking millions anymore. We're talking billions. How many billions do you think the Victorian government's made from speeding fines and the like from 2008 to 2023, and yet the road toll basically hasn't changed? Okay? Police have identified single acts of non-compliance or people making basic driving errors contributed to more than half of fatalities in 2023. Again, nothing to do with speeding. There are behaviours such as low-range speeding, lower-level drink driving, failing to obey road signs, and distraction like use mobile phone while driving. Yeah, those things occur, but there's no evidence that they contributed to the 296 lives that were lost. Show me some evidence, okay, that somebody, doing 5 or 6 Ks over the, posted limit, they're the person that contributed to the fatalities. Okay, at least 10% of fatal collisions had one or more vehicle occupants failing to wear a seatbelt. Okay, that makes sense. Seatbelts do save lives. They do save the severity of crashes. That I don't have a problem with. But low-level, low-range speeding and the like, come on. Extreme behaviours. You ready for this? Hold on. According to the police, extreme behaviours such as driving without a licence. Whoa, that's extreme. You don't have a little plastic card with you, and that's an extreme behaviour. Come on, that's ridiculous. Travelling at extreme speeds, that I agree would be an extreme behaviour, okay, because it's kind of in the name. High-range drink driving, again, that's an extreme behaviour. Illicit drug driving, again, that's an extreme behaviour. How on earth do they justify driving without a little piece of plastic as an extreme behaviour? That's ridiculous, okay? Or often a combination of these behaviours contributed to approximately a quarter of fatal collisions in 2023. Okay, so if that's only a quarter, what contributed to the other 3/4 of collisions? If it wasn't drug driving, drink driving and extreme speeding, okay, what contributed to the other 3/4? Maybe that's what we should be focusing on rather than this speed all the time, which they, claim is the be-all and end-all, okay? It's absolute rubbish, okay? Now, I've explained this many times before. The whole premise, the whole concept of the speed camera system makes absolutely no sense, okay? They claim that these cameras save lives, but there is just simply no possible way that a speed camera can actually cause you to slow down at the time that you're speeding and not speed up again 2 seconds after you pass it if you've seen it. Yet they expect you to, stay alive for another 2 or 3 weeks until the fine arrives in the mail so that you can pay it. So how do they save lives exactly? Again, they need to just completely get rid of all of these automated camera systems and instead put more actual police on the street. And again, only police who are focused on actually stopping people who are driving dangerously. Not 4 or 5 Ks over the, artificially, reduced and arbitrarily set in the first place speed limit. Actually driving dangerously, on drugs, drinking, excessive speeds, those kinds of things. Okay? I mean, all of the, these speed limits, it's a blanket speed limit on a stretch of road that's supposed to apply equally to all drivers, whether they're 18 or 80, all types of, cars, whether it's a basic Ford to a Ferrari. I mean, it makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. One size fits all. Okay, it might work for one of our Know Your Rights caps, but that's about it. It certainly doesn't apply, okay, when it comes to, speed limits. Right? It's just ridiculous. Now, of course, all of those principles, okay, are spelt out in that Aussie Speeding Fines book. Okay, all of the strategies, all of the ideas that will truly make our roads safer. Okay, these are all detailed in those first few chapters, okay, of that Aussie Speeding Fines book. If I can find the chapter list there. Oh, I've lost my page. So there's all sorts of information. Yes, of course, they have that, that three-step process, that tried, tested, and proven system for challenging all of those fines. But more than that, this is about what's ultimately going to genuinely make our roads safer, genuinely going to reduce that road toll. So please, if you don't yet have your own copy of that book, you'll find a link in the description on the video, and should also be one in the comments section as well. All right, now speaking of the automated camera systems, there was a very interesting article that came out right at the end of last year regarding a very interesting potential legal challenge to the Queensland automated AI camera systems. Now, I urge you to go and look this article up because, of course, exactly the same principles will apply in every other state because they are all used very similar AI systems and camera programs as well. So this one's entitled Clue in the Windscreen May Be Key in Legal Challenge to Queensland's AI Traffic Fine System. Evelyn Truman did jury duty once, but other than that, has never been to court. Now, the 79-year-old Brisbane pensioner is preparing to represent herself against the Queensland government in one of several cases set to test the artificial intelligence programs it uses to surveil drivers. Truman admits to being daunted. She had to enlist her son-in-law's help to lodge the first online complaint. He's good with computers, she said. Truman fell afoul of the state's camera detector defence program and was fined $1,078 in March for being the owner of a car in which a passenger was not wearing a seatbelt correctly. Now, again, the whole premise of that makes no sense. Just because you're the owner of a car in which someone did something wrong doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. If a passenger is in a car and they haven't worn their seatbelt, that passenger should get a fine. This is what these AI systems can't do that a police officer can very easily do. Police officers can pull up beside the car, pull you over, get the name and address and the details of the person sitting in the passenger seat not wearing their seatbelt, and issue them a fine, which of course is what should be done, not these AI camera systems. She's adamant that the car in the series of images is not her vehicle and that she has never met the two women pictured. The West End grandmother did drive along the Pacific motorway with her adult daughter on the same day and around the same time that the fine was issued. However, she insists that she was driving, her daughter does not have a licence, whereas the image shows the older of two women in the passenger seat with the seatbelt on incorrectly. While the overexposed images provided by the government may make it difficult for the court to discern if it is indeed Truman pictured, she's hoping that a small detail in the photograph will help support her case. Visible in the car's windscreen is what appears to be a reflection of Truman's upside-down number plate. How did that get there, she wonders. It is a question she is asked of the Queensland Revenue Office and one also asked by this publication. We cannot comment on individual cases. Of course not. A QRO spokesperson told Guardian Australia. Images are not altered or redacted before they are included on the infringement notice issued to the registered operator of the motor vehicle. So again, already we have an inconsistency. Is it the registered owner or is it the registered operator? Because, of course, your car registration is not proof of ownership. They tell you this very clearly. You're only ever the registered operator. Okay, so when they claim, oh, but you're the registered owner of the car, anything that comes after that statement is completely false. Okay, so please make sure you're aware of some of these important nuances. Truman's theory is that a similar car, also carrying two women, must have been just behind her, catching the reflection of her number plate in its windscreen. The computer has then recognised her number plate and incorrectly attributed the fine to her. So, does the theory stack up? Griffith University quantum physicist Associate Professor Eric Streed said it would require a very surprising set of circumstances for the number plate to be reflected upside down in the windscreen of the car behind it. But he said that was still far more probable than the alternative that somehow the car is reflecting its own number plate in the windscreen. Well, duh. I guess the burden of proof is on the government. Hello? Yes, it is. But in this case, they flipped that around and put the burden of proof on her, he says. No, doesn't work that way. Okay, go and look at the Monday versus Gill case. Very, very powerful High Court case. The burden of proof is on the prosecution in any criminal case to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, the police love to do this. Oh, you have to prove you weren't speeding. You have to prove you weren't the driver. You have to prove who was driving. You don't have to prove anything. The burden of proof is on the prosecution to prove their case. And any court that entertains such a claim by the prosecution is clearly not a valid court at all. We all operate under the fundamental premise that we are innocent until proven guilty. Make sure you remind them of that at every opportunity. It is in its response to both Truman and The Guardian, QRO references the AI software used to filter images from its highway cameras seeking out offenders. For Streed, this does offer one potentially simple explanation. If some machine learning algorithm has randomly gone out and been told, here's a batch of images, find a license plate, well, here was a batch of images, and they found a license plate, he says. So then there's a very interesting subheading, and this is what I want to draw everyone's attention to. And that is entitled, Some Mistakes Will Happen. Well, there's your understatement for the year. But DeMartini says the enthusiasm to roll out new technology in law enforcement must be tempered by the understanding that no technology is perfect. Okay? Look at all these cyber attacks and cyber hacks and breaches and everything that we saw happen last year. No technology is perfect. Nothing can stop these issues. Some mistakes will happen and should be expected to happen, he said. So it's not a great idea to use these types of technologies by themselves and trusting 100% of their outcomes. Again, something we say in every single one of our live events. There has to be a two-step process. You blow into this. It's a preliminary breath test. It indicates that you may have a prescribed alcohol limit above the whatever the set limit is. Please come back and do a secondary or evidentiary test, in the booze bus. You walk through the big thing at airport security. It goes beep, beep, beep. They drag you across and they get the wand and they go over you. Okay, 2 steps, an automated process and then a manual process. But with all of these speed and fine cameras and seatbelt cameras and mobile phone cameras, there's no 2-step process. There's no accountability. There's no checks and balances. And this is the problem. He goes on to say, the Queensland Council for Civil Liberties President Michael Cope says his organisation has questioned the accuracy of the seatbelt cameras and is concerned about a lack of transparency on AI in law enforcement. The lawyer says critical decisions about people's lives are already being handed over to automated systems without sufficient oversight. And again, this is what the Aussie speeding fines guys talk about in their book. Okay, you commit 2 or 3 low-level speeding fine offences and you're treated worse than a hardened criminal. You lose your insurance, you lose your licence. It's insane. This has real-world implications on people's lives and livelihoods, all because of automated cameras using AI that get it wrong all the time. There are tools which have a great potential to affect people's lives, and we need to set up structures which control their introduction, he says. Absolutely we do. Absolutely. Okay? Now, I've said this many, many times before. Mistakes most assuredly do happen. Okay, those automated cameras get it wrong far more often than you might think. I mean, that is the whole reason that, the Aussie speeding fines guys even exist after 16 years. That's why they have a book. That's why they have a website. That's why they've been around for 16 years, because of the sheer number of mistakes that these cameras and the police themselves make on a daily basis. If there weren't that many errors, if there weren't that many problems, they wouldn't exist. It's as simple as that. So please make sure you check and double check, okay, every single fine before you blindly hand over your hard-earned money. Of course, now I personally would argue that exactly the same applies to things like rates that you charge, taxes, bank fees, all those sorts of things. Anywhere else that the government or big corporations try and make money from you. Okay, they will try anything on and they often get it wrong. Okay, and that of course is one of the fundamental principles of our book, the Know Your Rights book. Okay, the step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. It explains to you why you should not be paying excessive taxes, rates, fees. And it also explains all of the background information to how that system came about originally through things like Unidroit, the replacement of the Commonwealth of Australia with Australia, the replacement of the Queen of the United Kingdom with the Queen of Australia, all those sorts of things, and how the system has become the complete and utter mess that it is right now today, and of course the steps that you can take to stop it from escalating any further and to start pushing back against it. So again, if you don't yet have this book, you'll find a link in the description. There should be a link in the comments. Please make sure you grab that as well, so that you fully understand what your rights are and why you can stop paying for all these things that you really don't need to. Now, on that point, this again is a very, very timely reminder to please make sure that you get your submissions in to stop the Digital ID Bill 2023 from being passed. I spoke about that last year in the last video update that I did, so please, this is what you want to look for. There should be a link going up in the comments of this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, this is what you need to look for online. Digital ID Bill 2023 and the Digital ID Transitional and Consequential Provisions Bill 2023. Now, the submissions are only open until the 19th of January. Okay, so it's only a couple of weeks now. Okay, so please make sure you get those submissions in ASAP. Of course, they are banking on the fact that everyone's in holiday mode and they're not going to make any effort. So please prove them wrong by getting those submissions in. And of course, on a similar point, please make sure you also check out our Call Out Cashless Businesses group that's seen some really great activity over the Christmas New Year period when people have been out and about, going to new businesses, new shops, cafes, restaurants, and they've been naming and shaming those businesses that refuse to accept cash. Again, you should find a link in the comment section of the video, or again, just go to Facebook, look up Call Out Cashless Businesses, and of course the important sister group to that, which is the Cash is King discussion group. Again, a really great Facebook group that you can talk about CBDCs, digital IDs, keeping cash alive, all those sorts of principles. Let's keep getting this message out there. All right, so finally, as I always do, I'm going to finish off tonight's video with some more great memes to get people thinking. Yes, now this one is in relation to the recent Christmas period, and you can see the figures there on how much money the banks literally banked on making because of tap and go and card usage instead of cash. So as it says, $28 billion in card purchases this Christmas gives $616 million to the banks. Do they really need any more? Cash would have given the banks zero. If everybody used cash for every single purchase they made, the banks would have got zero. Okay, so please keep this in mind moving forwards into 2024. Use cash whenever and wherever possible. Yes, another good old meme relating to the fact checkers. I'm sure they will be out in force once again this year. So as it says there, actual photo of me watching the fact checkers with no more facts to check because of course it's all true and we were right. Sadly, I think that day is still a little way down the track, but hey, fingers crossed we can keep hoping. Yes, now I know a lot of you have been out and about travelling around over the Christmas New Year period, and I'm sure many of you have seen the absolute appalling state of our roads, no matter what state you're in. So as it says, just paid my taxes, the road should be fixed any day now. I wish. Sadly, that is not the case. This one's been doing the rounds. It's quite true. As you can see here, this is a special from one of the supermarkets, and of course the as it says there, the previous price excuse, the reason for the price hike was because of COVID. Then the current price excuse, of course, the war in Ukraine, and the next price excuse will, of course, be bushfires. So watch this space, and let's see what transpires. And of course, for those who have continued to take their stand throughout last year again against these wonderful medical experiments, please do take note of that. And anyone who was coerced into taking it or anything like that, make note of what it says. Regret taking it? Oh well, maybe you should have listened to your conspiracy theorist friends instead of him. So something to think about this year when they roll out who knows what. But once again, be aware and be prepared. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to please make use of all of the various resources that you do have to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We do need people to take action as much as possible again this year, because the powers that be will be pushing harder than ever before, so we need to stand collectively and keep pushing back. As always, there's plenty of completely free information on our website, on the other websites that we mentioned. These videos, of course, are completely free to watch. You'll find them on the videos tab on our Facebook page, also on our YouTube channel, and of course our BitChute channel as well. Our radio shows, which will be starting in another week and a half, again, completely free to listen to on a Tuesday night. You can join up as a podcast member for less than $5 a week and listen to all of the previous podcasts from the last 9.5 years. So plenty of information there for those who want it. Of course, if you want to go above and beyond that, I do, of course, recommend our ebook, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights. That Aussie Speeding Fines book that I mentioned just before, for challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. And of course, we do know a lot of people, especially after the Christmas period, are struggling financially. So please stop throwing good money after bad at these unsecured loans, at your personal loans, your credit cards. They can be very easily wiped out, discharged using that tried, tested, proven 4-step process. You can get these books individually. You can get them also all part of the combo pack. That combo pack does, of course, include one of our tote bags as well. No extra charge. Great way to carry around the shopping, things like that. On that same token, we do have our caps and beanies still available. And again, that way. There we go. And as you can see, you wear those, people see the logo, they come up, they have a chat. Great way to meet like-minded people. So grab those. And of course, don't forget that home study course. It is an amazing resource that you'll come back to again and again and again over the years. It is, of course, a complete recording of one of our 2.5-day live events. There's 17 DVDs, a CD with all the documents we use, 3 custom-made workbooks with spaces there to write your notes next to every single slide from every single presentation. You pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home at your own pace. So again, you'll find a link in the description in the comments to grab that as well. So I'm going to leave things there. As I said, moving forwards, I'm only going to do one video update per week for the next little while. And if there's anything super urgent, I'll do some extra updates as needed. So there'll be no live video update this Thursday, but I will be back again next Sunday night. So until then, have a fantastic week, everyone. Take care.